Okay, the days of Jehovah are time periods where aspects of the Father are sent into mankind to elevate their understanding for that age. But it is a time where evil is on the rise, and that is why the understanding has to be increased to preserve a remnant. It can be local, it can be worldwide. It depends upon what the necessity is. Now, the first day was with the first death of Hebel. And I didn't mean to use a it's Hebel. All right, they say Abel, but it's actually Hebel, and it means emptiness or vanity. And because of the jealousy of Cain, Hebel was killed. All right, but that they are a storage vessel, and since she's the first dead, Hebel is actually feminine, a twin of Cain. And the reason I know this is because of the variations in spelling of the word, because they would not call a son emptiness or vanity. All right. Now, in the English, you write it Abel. And if you look up Abel in the English, it means a meadow or something like that. But that's not what's in Hebrew. All right. And what it means is the divine echad of the anxious heart. And this is echad because it's representative of the father and the mother's heart, both being united in their anxiety. Okay, and that's because we're their children, all right? This is our punishment phase, and they're anxious for us, just like any parents would be. Now, the reason it says as 1,000 years, and you have to understand that in the spiritual realm, it's not a fixed time, it is a fixed situation, all right? And an agreed upon appointment. Like when the level of evil rises to a certain degree, the mother orders for a seed of the Father, which is stored in the constellation Pleiades, combined with the ashes of the mother, are sent in as human to deliver a verdict, but to be also, from another aspect, to be the eyes and the ears of the divine parents in the earth. All right? Now, the second one was Noah. And as these ascend to the next level, the souls that are held and the Mashiach from the previous period ascend as a collective into both the mortal and the spirit representative. Okay? These beings understand that they are both spirit and mortal, right? We humans don't always understand that, or at least not to the degree that we should, all right? Now, evil had increased upon the earth at the time of Noah, that all but 8 people needed to be wiped out, which should really terrify most people, because it says at the time of the end it'll be the worst than any other time on mankind, and there was the possibility that it could only be one individual that would be saved from this loop. But that's not the possibility anymore. Anyway, the third one is Moshe. Moses, means spiritually drawing from the water. They're drawing from the living water. Said to be a deliverer for the children of Israel, but also to be a testament because he was instructed to write down that what had only been passed by word of mouth prior to that, okay, to be the Father's testament into the earth. Now there's still a her story to his story. This is the story of the spirit. We've been told the story of the flesh. Now the fourth Mashiach sent into the earth is Yehoshua HaMashiach number 4, otherwise known as Jesus. That was rejected by traditional Jews because they were desiring a conquering king, and misunderstood by Christianity because they cast aside their Hebrew foundations. All right? So this completed the altar of sacrifice in the highest heavens. This completed the 4 corners of the altar. All right? Now, the next one was Aaron ben Moses ben Asher, who was a Jewish grammarian that died around 960 AD. All right? And he was instrumental in establishing the higher understanding of the vowel points. Now, it was a meeting of the rabbis that fully implemented, but I know that he was instrumental in this. This is the beginning of the incense altar in the highest temple. The 6th incursion is when evil gets to its peak, that one who believes calls out to the Father for judgment. That time is now. But her purpose is to be the embodiment of the mother, to tell her story and what the purpose of the adversary is and who the adversary is and everything like this, to help us to clean up our spiritual houses, to bring the kingdom of heaven to earth. Now, we hear so much about the Father's right hand, we don't hear anything at all about his left hand. And that's the hand of discipline, okay? One who is like him, but Father is life. It takes a lot for him to destroy, all right? When he gets to that point, there's no mercy in his judgment. All right? He is the embodiment of the law. Now, grace came about because of a mother's compassionate heart. But there's so many dimensions and so many levels and stuff like that, that mercy has a limit. Okay? When the level of evil is ascended, it has to be gathered up. Now, how evil is gathered up is by when the human vessel is destroyed, the demonic spirits are bound to the earth and cannot ascend in the heavenlies. So how they are gathered is we as mortal vessels who believe in the Father, we are allowing the Spirit to come into our lives. But instead of acknowledging that we were also made from evil and to battle against that, in that battle, we bring the demonic spirits into submission. So when people reconcile their good and their evil, they become a host for both to walk in righteousness and balance in the spiritual realm. And the whole purpose of this loop of human existence is to bring peace to earth, but also peace to the higher spirit realm. All right? Instead of one extreme in the constellations that run from east to west, the higher beings in the Father's territory, north of the east-west constellations, descend. The lower beings from the southern territory, south of the east-west constellations, ascend, and peace in the family of Yehovah is attained. That is what the purpose of all of our existence is, to bring peace from what was chaos. Because when one thing is out of balance, it affects everything else. We just don't know this.